Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Yo, everybody, it's your ride. So let's get to it. Bring the bang!
What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you and Dr. Roto this week. Ooh, yeah. Man, another crazy weekend. But I wasn't around for much of it. Of course, as I said last week, I was fighting. We had a big, huge tournament, the Erie Open in Erie, thrown by my school, TKO Erie. So it was fun to be part of course. But I did get one betting article done for the weekend. I am ahead, as you saw on my podcast last week. I'm already ahead with my Blanchfield versus Barber picks. I already have a lot of the numbers together. I got the Heat-tastic picks together. I've got the show lined up for Thursday, the Fight Club of Pain with Dan. Ooh, yeah! But let's get ready to bring the pain! Yeah! Woo! All right, we're going to just start it off with the bets because that's all I really did. Because I wasn't traveling anywhere, I didn't have time to, of course, get an article put together like I did it in the car ride because I wasn't driving the last few tournaments, but that wasn't the case this one. It was in Erie. I got to sleep in and go to it. So you got Sunday. Sunday turned out pretty good. It wasn't too bad. Did win some money. What was really nice was on Saturday I was able to pull a little bit of money, and then on Sunday I was able to pull a little more, but I almost pulled a lot. I played the 8 o'clock game on DraftKings and literally was in fourth place, first place, right at the beginning already, winning $50 to $60, $70, $100. Then the Yankees show up. Dude, are you kidding me? Y'all couldn't do that. Y'all couldn't get runs. Y'all couldn't. I ended up losing. Well, I won money, but I didn't win what I wanted to win. Unfortunately, sometimes that's all you do. You just double up your money and just move on to the next day or the next week like we're doing with the UFC this week. UFC, of course, is back at the Apex. UFC 107, Vegas 107, and I said UFC 107 anyway. And this is Blanchfield versus Barber. So definitely, this card has a lot of soup cans, Dan would call it. But that's okay. I don't mind soup cans because that means some soup can shit can happen. And I'm down for it because that means finishes, and finishes mean more money for us. And that's what we've been great at the Fight Club of Pain, is being able to break down. And I'll break down a little bit of that later when I talk about my fights at the Erie Open. I get called nobody out. But anyway, I just try to be transparent with all of you and the content, and that shows that, even though I got that Sunday and you still got money, hey, it's a week off. I had to fight. I know that you guys kind of see it. I get all jacked up leading up to the fight. Now I'm all calm. Champ is here. The champ is here. Ooh, yeah. Hey, man, I may not be the best point fighter in the world, but I am the best point fighter when I show up to most tournaments. All right? In my division. In my age division. Now, when I get to the black belt division, I might get my butt kicked for a minute, but then I will start winning, and when I start winning, I win. That's just what I do. I'm a sponge. I'm a chameleon. Ooh, yeah. I sit here and I make sure that I put out the best product that everybody helps me work on and teaches me at the dojo. Both for DFS, seasonal, and, of course, my fighting career as a martial artist. So, that being said, let's get to some IDP talk. I know y'all what are you going to talk about? Well, everybody's already talking about everything. That's the thing, is that people go to me and they want all the IDP knowledge in the world. Look, I have it. Is it worth talking about? Do I need to talk about how TJ Watt is the best every year? And even though somebody always beats him out, TJ Watt happens to be second or third practically every single year. And when you add up his points per game in an IDP, any IDP setting that at least has sacks and tackles and pressures, it's over. TJ's like one of the best, has been one of the best since he stepped onto the field. Again, everybody likes to spit nuggets and facts. I just give you winners. Isn't that what you want in the end anyway? I stopped counting last year because all the previous 3 years at Dr. Roto, the IDP product that I put out on the site has been top notch. and has been best. I bet him. I bet it. And I'm winning 70-80% of my bets. That means I'm hitting on that, but I'm winning more than that. I'm hitting now that I've separated my articles and I make, I have my IDPs, I have my hard hits and cool picks article that highlights all of the people that you could pick up that's super low owned, that you could go to the waiver wire, pick up this guy in a great position, and get some points from him. Hey, I have called many pick sixes and touchdowns this way. It's what we do at Dr. Roto. So get to Dr. Roto right now. Use code word DOC, D-O-C, and get yourself a percentage off and win today. There's already drafts going on. There's no reason you shouldn't be joining today. Right, people? All right. So, that being said, I actually completed my defensive line rankings last night. Of course, I got my linebackers and I have my secondary coming out next. I will complete that over probably the next few weeks. This is actually a lot earlier than what I do. I usually start June and everything, but since I've been locked in with the UFC and I haven't been doing all these other big podcasts, even though I've had people like Simon Shackleton on, et cetera, Cassell from the Pot of Thunder. Yeah, right. So when you get a lot, you enumerate. Plus, I've said it time and time again. I have been learning the UFC deeper than I ever have. I took all of my numbers and my formula from football, from IDP that I give you every single week, and baseball, and I flipped it to UFC. But the thing is as a fighter, you can look at all the numbers in the world. You could be winning a match, and then you get knocked out. It happens. It happens in life, right? And we're all going to be there one day if you're a fighter. And when that day comes, that's when you learned from it and you grow from it. And that's what I've done through all my losses. And that has made me the champion that I am today. Now, of course, a few of my losses being some of them happening in a tournament when I first started. So in my first 2 tournaments, I literally lost 3 times. But since then, I've only lost 4 times, right? So that being said, that's a pretty good record when you think about that. I've been doing karate over 5 years. And in my division, it's not a walkthrough. Yes, we're older and we've all had knee surgeries, hip surgeries, back surgeries, hand surgeries, arm surgeries. But at the same time, I also want to just also say, get back to that, because I will go into that. I will go into karate for a minute, right? The defensive line article, of course, you're going to get your rankings. That's going to be out soon. So we'll have that out as soon as possible. You'll see me plaster it all over the internet as well as everybody at Dr. Roto. Let's get a team. Yeah, right. And at the same time, I will also have my tiered articles behind that. That's where I go to each of my 10, because I do 30. So I take 10, 11 to 20, and then, of course, 21 to 30. And I pick my 5 favorite targets out of that. And then with those 15 players, you get exactly what you need. And of course, going forward, if you're new to Dr. Roto or new to Bring the Pain and how things work here, then you will see that those are your 15, right? So every week, I also do the IDP Heats of the Week on top of the Hard Kits and Cool Picks article. The IDP Heats of the Week is practically my pick these players. You can ask me about other players in the Subs Only Discord, but you need to read my articles so that you understand where I'm going and what I've already done and the work that I've already done for you, all of you. So that being said, when you want to flip back to it, that's what you're going to have IDP-wise coming out. And of course, you get the Ultra Contrarian show and the Heat-tastic. This show right here, when I record it on Tuesday, you will get your Macho Pick of the Week. Yes, I will be giving out the Macho Pick of the Week early, and I might even not include it in the Ultra Contrarian lineup, because that way you have to listen to both podcasts. Look, I know that's what gets us paid, people. I'm not saying here, if you're watching my podcast for free and you're not a sub, then hey, at least you can subscribe, like, share, and tell people that you know this crazy guy delivers sports and at the same time is entertaining fights and is trying to give us the best analysis so that we can win money. That's what I'm trying to do. That's the mission at Dr. Roto. That's why the office is always open, to make you our rich friend. Because I say it all the time, we have the right cure for all of your fantasy needs. Honestly, best catch line in the entire world, because that's what we do. Oh, wait a minute. Always remember to bring the pain. That's up there too. Yeah. So, Erie Open in Erie, Pennsylvania, thrown by TKO Erie, Sensei Arrington. Amazing guy. Amazing guy because he puts all of us, and together all of us put ourselves in these chances, in these matches. We give ourselves the best chance to win and leave on our feet, right? So the team did amazing, had a bunch of grand champions. I got to see my boy Robert come up from Pittsburgh. He won a grand champion. I did not compete in kata, open hand, or weapons. I fought only. I ended up fighting Robert. It was a good match. There was some zany stuff called in, some stuff that I was called out for. A part of my learning, I'll get into that in a second here, that I need to learn. So got beat Robert after I was done. I went on to a new guy, a guy that actually lives here close in Erie, and he got his first taste. Now, funny thing is one of his sensei, I've been telling me about him for a minute, and she goes, hey, I really need him to work with you. There's this guy, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, look, he's not going to have anybody to fight. And then all of a sudden, he's in my division. Hey, cool. Hey, that's cool, dude, right? So we had a good fight. I could easily pick him apart, but that's just who I am as a fighter. You know, you can see some of my fights now where I know that I don't have to go full Monty, and when I really have to go full Monty, how crisp I am and how it is. I mean, sometimes fighters do that. We take fights off, you hear it, and that's how sometimes you get caught, but you don't get caught when you're good, right? Yeah, I'm cocky. I'm very cocky on the Fight Club of Pain. But the thing is sometimes Dan be pushing me on because Dan be there watching me fight. Dan is there. He watches me just like everybody else. And they see the product that I put out and what I do. And he just gets a kick out of it. The Rob Rush exists for a reason because it scores me a lot of points. So that being said, of course, as I said, I did not do my katas. I fought. I took first place. I beat both of them. And that's another great feeling. Moves me up. I know I probably need to stop counting this record, but 22-7 overall. So, you know, again, that comes back to it. I did have an exhibition match, so I've had 30 fights under my belt. So I'm doing really good. And I've learned, and what I've been learning in the fights also has translated to the Fight Club of Pain, me being able to catch up and watch all of this tape. But now I'm seeing fighters, like I've said, fight again. So that has been made it really easy, easier on Dan, easier on the rest of the Fight Club, you know, because there is more than just me and Dan. There's a whole bunch of us that, you know, go and fight at TKO for TKO Erie. And that being said, so we just talk fights. So when we're talking and they throw me picks and stuff like that, I throw it all in the sauce. And I started out the Fight Club just doing a bunch of things, making picks, and then I flipped it to where Dan came in, and I've been able to put out that product instead of being able to being like everybody going, hey, you know, this, because they're busy. A lot of the people in the Fight Club are a lot younger than me and Dan, and they got lives. So, you know, I get that and I understand it. Plus, like I said, a lot of them have real fights coming up, real MMA fights coming up. So they can't always pay attention to my wild ass up in a chat room, right? Yeah. So I did that. But one thing I always, and this goes in any sport, refs piss you off. And I'm not going to bash any refs now. I've done enough of that. I'm going to get put in check tomorrow about that. And that's the thing, is that sometimes you have to be humble. And even though I'm winning, sometimes you can't be a dick. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was kind of a dick. You know, I know the judges missed some calls. And I know that maybe I may have had an extra fight that I probably shouldn't have. But hey, I always said I'd walk the whole division anyway. Guess what? I did walk the division. And that being said, I did that a couple tournaments ago. So even though I'm doing this, even though I'm winning, I still have to learn to be humble. I need to understand that people do make mistakes the same way I make mistakes. And when I make mistakes, you know, I have to admit them. And that's, you know, I'm going to get my humble pie tomorrow because I went at some of the refs. But the thing is after kind of going at some of the refs and saying, and I usually don't speak up. My last fights, I haven't really spoke up much at all. But this one, I was a little outspoken. Didn't like it. Didn't like that, you know, I nailed a sidekick and they didn't call it. They called it something else. Nailed another sidekick on the other guy and they called it something else. And it was just like, whatever, I get it. Let's just move along. But then I go home, I watch the video, I get angry, I bring it to the internet because that's what the pain bringer does. You know, he did. And I got put in check. And so, you know, even though I'm winning, I have flaws. My flaws are sometimes my head. As like most men or most fighters, I get an ego when I win. I get an ego when I think, but like it's you. I need to step back. Like, dude, you won. Why are you bitching about the refs? Dude, you won. Why are we looking at nitpicking the details? Well, I nitpick my details because I feel that that makes me a better fighter. I watch all of my fights multiple times, and when, of course, I'm about to fight again, if especially like someone like Robert, I'm going to go back and watch all of my fights back to 5 years ago to now, what I do different, what has worked then, what he has done. He's actually a way better than he was back then. And that's insane because dude's 65. So I got to give him mad props that he's even in the ring with me. So, we had a small discussion about that. But hey, dude got a great champion. He knows how to go out there and put out a great product. And that's what martial arts is about. It's about sometimes humbling yourself. It's about sometimes understanding your own flaws, even in your winning, even when you do that. In even winning develops bad habits. And in that bad habit, I was looking for the perfect point match, the perfect kumite, the perfect point fighting match. And guess what? A few things didn't get called my way or didn't go my way, but I still dominated. And I'm sitting here having a cow. Yeah, that's just a little bit. So again, I call myself out as the pain bringer. I bring the pain to myself. I don't leave myself off the list when I say that I don't call people out for being. I acted like a jerk, right? But I understand that. And I even talked with Robert about how I fought last year. And it's very evident how angry I fought. But, I lost a lot of people. I lost one of my senseis, a big inspiration. For this tournament, I went out, and I'm going to do it as far as I can. I will always wear that towel. When Jose went out and wore that towel that day, I thought it was the coolest shit I'd ever seen. And I was like, man, why am I not doing this? And he always did it. So I did it. And I went out there and I represented Erie. Erie strong. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's all about. And so I learned from my flaws. And that's what makes us better. Today, practicing my fifth kata, working hard to earn my brown belt. These are all things I need to think about mentally. Mentally, I need to be ready for that test. Physically, I need to be ready for that test. And part of it being mentally is being humble, is learning when you're wrong and admitting when you're wrong. And that's what we all do in life. Not just in martial arts, but also in DFS. When I'm wrong, I say that I'm wrong. When I pick something wrong and you want to yell at me, I get it. I get it. I'm yelling at myself more than you're ever going to yell at me. But guess what? I'm going to come back that next week. And like I said, with the football product that I put out at Dr. Roto and just me alone, and you add everybody else's intake, everybody else's play on the lineups, you have no idea how much money people can make at Dr. Roto and do make at Dr. Roto with what we do, how we break things down, man. I miss some of the people after they had some big digits. I was talking with these people every day for the first 5, 6, 7 weeks. And then bam, 5, 6 digits later, they don't need to be in there so much. They already won their Christmas. They already won their year. Their life changed. And it's good to see that. It's good to hear that stuff. It's great to see those comments in the Discord for everybody. I'm just there to just ride, just to help, just to laugh and have a good time with everybody and do the wrestling articles and do the UFC ranking articles that you can find at Dr. Roto, that you can find at Dr. Roto at MSN. Go give us clicks, share, follow, comment. Tell me what you think. You don't agree? I had somebody tell me that that Roman Reigns needs to be off the top 10 list, and that Jacob Fatu should be up there since Roman's taking some time off. I'm giving Roman some things. I gave Cody. I moved Cody down. Now Cody's moving up. All right? That's happening next week. Cody's back, people. And that being said, that's what I want to do. That's the product. That's what we do. That's what I learned in the dojo, is to be transparent and to learn from your flaws. And I'm never going to be perfect. Never going to be perfect. But guess what? It's about being there for all of you. That does make us perfect at Dr. Roto. It's about being there. And that's what I want to do. This is more than just the Erie Open podcast. This is about what's coming up, what's about to happen. I mean, you already know you're going to get the Fight Club of Pain on Thursday, live on Dr. Roto Network. Of course, you're going to get the Heat-tastic review back on Sunday following. So hit it up. Let's have some fun. And then I'll start getting into some faster IDP drops. We'll see what we got, because that's all. But once I like to do follow-up podcasts to all of my IDP articles. So when my IDP rankings hit, I will have a podcast for them. When my tiers hit, I will do all 3 of them together. And of course, they will drop in succession, but I will do all 3. I will do a podcast covering all 3. I did that last year. I like that a lot more than doing 3 different podcasts. And at the same time, I want to get that even flow of content for all of you from all of us. And that's what you get. You're going to get the UFC. I figured out the schedule. You're going to get your NFL, and you're going to get baseball up until the day it's done, and we only have bets, and we're going in there. Again, subs only Discord. I threw a lineup that placed in the top 5%. If you want free lineups, you want free money, you come to Dr. Roto, and we will make you our rich friend, like we always say. Have a great day, everybody, and always remember to bring the pain, because the champ is out. I'll see you Thursday. Yeah!
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. Until the next visit, be well and take care.